The oak-paneled boardroom hummed with tension thick enough to carve. 11 pairs of eyes, ranging from nervous to resigned, were fixed on Vanessa Caldwell. Her gaze, a piercing dark brown, swept over the quarterly projections displayed on the smart screen. A faint tremor in the data points, signifying a dip in the South American market. "Explain this," she commanded, her voice cutting through the hushed air like a sharpened blade. Her finger, adorned with a single platinum band, tapped the screen. "The proposed solution is a 10% reduction in our regional marketing spend. This is not a solution. It is a bandage on a gaping wound." Terrence, the head of global marketing, shifted uncomfortably in his leather chair, his broad shoulders tensing beneath his tailored navy blazer. "Vanessa, we believe a more aggressive approach risks alienating." "Alienating who, Terrence? The competition? Our shareholders?" Vanessa leaned forward, her perfectly tailored charcoal suit jacket creasing subtly. "Caldwell Industries doesn't believe. Caldwell Industries acts. We will initiate a 25% reduction in the South American division's operational budget, effective immediately. Furthermore, we will reallocate all remaining marketing resources to the emerging Asian markets. The projected Q3 growth in that sector justifies the investment. Any objections?" Her stare dared anyone to speak. Her dark eyes moved from face to face around the table, pausing just long enough on each person to make them feel individually assessed and found wanting. Silence reigned. The kind of silence that was not agreement, but the rigid quiet of people who had learned through painful experience that challenging Vanessa Caldwell was an exercise in professional self-destruction. Good. Get it done. The meeting concluded with the same abrupt efficiency with which it had begun. Chairs scraped back against the polished hardwood floor. Folders were gathered with hurried hands. Terrence exchanged a brief loaded glance with Dominique from operations, a glance that said everything about their shared exhaustion and nothing about their willingness to voice it. They filed out in a procession of expensive shoes and suppressed opinions, leaving Vanessa alone in the boardroom with the lingering scent of coffee and the hum of the ventilation system. Later, as the city lights of downtown Charlotte began to twinkle outside her penthouse office window on the 43rd floor, Vanessa ran a hand over the cool glass. The skyline stretched before her like a circuit board, illuminated pathways connecting nodes of commerce and ambition. Sentimentality was a luxury she could not afford, especially not in a company founded on the principle of relentless expansion. The bottom line was not just a number. It was the pulse of Caldwell Industries, a living entity that demanded unwavering discipline. Employees were assets, valuable components in a larger, intricate machine. Their purpose was to contribute to the machine's optimal function, not to introduce unpredictable variables like personal needs or emotional appeals. Policies were the gears, meticulously crafted over years to ensure smooth, predictable operation. Every rule existed for a reason. Deviations were inefficiencies, and inefficiency was a cancer she would excise without hesitation, no matter how small the tumor, no matter how sympathetic the circumstances surrounding its growth. A soft knock interrupted her thoughts. Her assistant Keisha entered looking flustered, her usually immaculate box braids slightly disheveled. "Miss Caldwell, I apologize, but my son has a high fever. The sitter just called and I need to—" Vanessa turned, her expression unyielding. "Keisha, your shift ends at 7. It is currently 6:45. Is the Q4 report filed?" Keisha's shoulders slumped beneath her cream-colored blouse. "Almost, but—" "Then finish it. Caldwell Industries policy dictates that all tasks assigned for the day are completed before departure. Personal emergencies are not exceptions to company policy. The report is due by close of business." Her tone left no room for appeal. She had learned this lesson from her father, Carlton Caldwell, who had built the original company with calloused hands and an iron will, who had taught her that the moment you made an exception for one person, you created an expectation for everyone. Keisha's face, etched with a mixture of distress and defeat, was a familiar sight. Vanessa simply watched her retreat, the soft click of the door marking the return to her solitary dominion. The fluorescent lights hummed a steady, lonely drone above Marcus Washington's desk in the accounting department on the 14th floor. It was past 7, and the floor was a silent expanse of empty cubicles and dark monitors, save for the rhythmic clicking of his keyboard. 9 years. 9 years he had given to this company, meticulously balancing ledgers, forecasting budgets, and dissecting quarterly reports until the numbers sang a clear, coherent tune. He double-checked the final Q3 projections, a complex tapestry of figures he had woven, ensuring every thread was perfect, every calculation unimpeachable. His work was a quiet testament to his precision, a silent promise kept to himself and to the demanding standards of Caldwell Industries. A faint smile touched his lips as his gaze drifted to a small laminated drawing tucked beneath his monitor, held in place by a strip of tape he replaced every few weeks when it started to curl. A stick figure with wild curly hair holding the hand of a taller, more stoic figure. The shorter figure wore what appeared to be a purple cape. "Me and Daddy," Amara had proudly declared, presenting it to him with a gap-toothed grin, her dark brown eyes shining with absolute certainty that this was a masterpiece worthy of museum display. Amara. Her name was a warmth in his chest, a constant gentle current beneath the surface of his disciplined life. He remembered this morning, the soft weight of her head against his shoulder as he carefully parted and braided her thick natural hair for school, his large fingers working with a gentleness that would have surprised anyone who knew him only as the quiet, methodical accountant on 14. The sleepy murmur of her voice, asking whether butterflies dreamed, whether the moon was lonely. His own promise to read her favorite space book tonight, the one with the black girl astronaut on the cover that she had insisted on reading so many times he had memorized entire passages. Being a single father was not just a role, it was the core of him, the unwavering anchor in his life since Jasmine's death 4 years ago. A brain aneurysm, sudden and merciless, taking her on an ordinary Wednesday morning while Amara was at preschool and Marcus was at his desk running variance reports. One phone call had divided his life into before and after, and in the after, Amara had become everything. Every late night, every perfectly balanced sheet, every early morning rush through the kitchen making lunches and checking backpacks was for her. A brick laid in the foundation of their small, secure world. He pulled up his attendance record, a digital scroll of flawless consistency stretching back 9 years. Not a single sick day, not a late arrival, not an absence. It was a point of quiet pride, not a boast, but a confirmation of his unwavering reliability. He was the man who showed up, who delivered, who never faltered. He closed the spreadsheet, powered down his computer, and gathered his things, sliding Amara's drawing carefully into the inner pocket of his messenger bag. He was tired, bone-tired in the way that only single parents truly understand, but the thought of Amara waiting for him filled him with renewed purpose. He locked his office door, the click echoing in the deserted corridor, and stepped out into the cool evening air of Charlotte, ready to transition from dedicated employee to devoted father. The fluorescent lights hummed their usual monotonous tune the following Thursday morning